Yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Toronto is one of the most beautiful cities in North America, and that's where the Yankees are for these next 4 days. A lot of fans make their way to Rogers Center, get an early dog, and then head to the ballpark. And today, we've got a gem in store. So sit back, have the dog, and enjoy. Tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the Toronto Blue Jays, the first of 4 from Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This game has ramifications in the American League East. The Red Sox have already won today at Fenway Park against the Rangers, so the Yankees 2 back, and the Blue Jays are 6 back. So this is a big series for the Jays as well. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with Al Leiter and Ken Singleton. I'm Michael Kay. Great homestand for the Yankees. Yes, they lost the final game yesterday, but 5-1 after the All-Star break. Now, the story of this game, Yankees and the Blue Jays, not so much the 2 teams, but the 2 pitchers. Let's break it down right away and tell you what we have. And today's pitching matchup brought to you by your local Infinity retailers. Mike Mussina goes for the Yankees 11-3, 3.30. Roy Halladay 12-2 for the Jays with a 3.06. Now, Roy Halladay gets all of the love, but Mike Mussina's had some season.
He sure has, and looking at that number, we were talking about it, and it should be a very well-pitched game on both sides. Here's his last start against the Blue Jays this year, the end of April. And he's just right on. Mike, you're exactly right. When he's on, you're going to see a lot of his slow changeups, his sliders and curves. His last start last Saturday against the White Sox, he won after 6 innings. He's having a heck of a year.
And his career, we all know, it's 16th season in the big leagues, and he has a great record, 5-time All-Star, 6 Gold Gloves, first player in American League history with 15 consecutive seasons of 10 or more wins. He's never won 20, though. This could be the year. Now, when you talk to people around baseball, everybody seems to be in agreement. If he's not the best, he's one of the top 3 pitchers in all of baseball. That's Roy Halladay.
Well, I think certainly he's the best right-hander in the American League. Look at his record, 12-2 coming into the game tonight. Roy Halladay trying to become the first 13-game winner in the American League, and he's got all the tools. Great big breaking ball. He's got a hard slider. You see it right there. And also, he's a competitor. He pitches deep into ball games, and he might just be the best pitcher in all of baseball.
9th season in baseball, 4-time All-Star, won the Cy Young in 2003, 22 wins that year, and he was drafted by Toronto in 1995 in the first round, the 17th pick. That was a pretty good draft pick for the Toronto Blue Jays. Mike Mussina and Roy Halladay. It really doesn't get better than that. We've had a lot of great pitching matchups throughout baseball this week. This one stands on its own. Lineups, first pitch coming up next.
Mussina versus Halladay, next on Yes.
New York Yankees baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Continental Airlines, the official airline of the Yankees. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. Well, the roof is closed here at Rogers Center. It's been raining throughout the afternoon here in Toronto, but this place actually has a hotel that looks down on the field, so you really never have to come across any of the elements. It's a beautiful facility, and used to be filled to the brim every single game, but this is one franchise that was affected adversely by the strike in '95, and it really has never bounced back since then. But today, the people that are here are going to be treated to quite a pitching matchup. We've detailed it at the start. We talked about it in the pregame show as well. Mike Mussina against Roy Halladay, 2 of the best pitchers in baseball, obviously 2 of the best right-handed pitchers in baseball, and some might say that Roy Halladay might be the best pitcher in baseball, and he could be the favorite to win the Cy Young Award if he has a second half the same as he had a first half. So he comes in at 12-2, and Mike Mussina comes in at 11-3. Outstanding records for both. And for the Blue Jays, this is a very big series. They've been treading water all season, and now if they want to make a move, they have to make a statement against the Yankees, the team in front of them in the American League East. The Red Sox lead the East. The Yankees are 2 back, and the Blue Jays are 6 behind. So this starts a 7-game road trip for the Yankees. 4 4 games here in Toronto, and then on to Texas for 3 against the Rangers. The Blue Jays have taken the field. Halladay about to take his warm-ups, and we'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, which is presented, as always, by our good friends at Rico. The center fielder is Johnny Damon. He leads off. The shortstop, the captain, Derek Jeter, bats second. DHing, Jason Giambi. Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman, cleans up. Batting 5th and catching, Jorge Posada. Bernie Williams in right field will bat 6th. Bottom of the order, Andy Phillips at first, Melky Cabrera in left, Miguel Cairo at second. Look at the numbers Giambi has against Halladay. 16 for 47, that's 340, with 3 homers and 7 runs batted in.
Here's Roy Halladay. The numbers are outstanding, and his record against the Yankees is outstanding as well. 9-4 in his career against the Yankees. You can see what he's done this year. This will be his 20th start. His record, 12-2. Less than a hit per inning, only 12 home runs allowed, 18 walks, and 135 in the 3rd innings. Here's our Land Rover pitcher scouting report. 7 wins, 1 loss right here at Rogers Center this year. His last loss was over a month ago when he lost to the Florida Marlins. That was at Florida, and he has all the tools. He has the velocity. He can locate the ball, and he also has great movement on a hard sinking fastball.
Let's take a look at the defense behind Roy Halladay. Pretty good outfield defense. Frank Catalanato's doing a much better job in left. Vernon Wells, 2-time Gold Glove winner in center. Reed Johnson is over and right in the infield. You've got Gloss, McDonald, Hill, and Overbay. That's 3rd to 1st. Vecchi Molina, outstanding defender behind the plate. Roy Halladay is on the mound. Well, we're ready for baseball here north of the border. And Halladay deals. Pitches inside, 1-0. Damon on the homestand, 6 for 19. And now he starts off the road trip with a base hit to right. Reed Johnson will get the ball in, and Johnny Damon leads off with a single.
Well, Johnny Damon's batting average on the year stand at 292 coming into this at bat, but he's been over a 300 hitter on the road. That's knee high, middle of the plate. A fastball that kind of had a magnet towards it on it and went back towards the middle, and Johnny Damon stroked it into right field.
So Damon's on first, a threat to run, and here's Derek Jeter against Halladay. Let's see if the Yankees play for 1 early against such a good pitcher and with a good pitcher on the mound. And they do as Jeter bunts 3rd base side. Gloss will field, fire to first, and the sacrifice successful.
Well, Michael, there's a couple of ways they could have played for 1. They could have had Johnny Damon try and steal second base and then have Jeter bunt him over to 3rd. Instead, Jeter's going to lay down the bunt. He gets it down as Jeter usually does. And this is going to set up an early opportunity for the Yankees. You can see Troy Gloss coming in. Only 1 play, barehanded, throws accurately, gets Jeter out. Jeter credited with a sacrifice that goes 5-3.
Damon's in scoring position. Here's Giambi. Now, when a pitcher knows that he's facing a great pitcher, does he ratchet it up a notch right here and say, hey, that's just a run in the 1st inning?
No, absolutely. You know when they're trying to scratch a run early on. So he knows this is an important at bat, an important inning to make sure that Damon doesn't score. Talked about it. Both these pitchers are having a great year, and potentially this run, if it scores, could be the difference between a win or a loss.
Count 0-1 on Giambi. Giambi 1 for his last 11 and 7 for 22 on the homestand.
It's interesting you mentioned that, Michael, because I talked to Ron Guidry about that very same thing before the game. And he mentioned when he matched up against the pitchers in his day like Nolan Ryan or Jim Palmer or Dennis Leonard, those type of pitchers that are some of the best in the league, that he would pick 1 player in the opposing lineup he would not let beat him. And that player for Roy Halladay might be somebody like Jason Giambi or Alex Rodriguez. He figured that's the guy I wanted to avoid all night long. I wouldn't shy away from pitching trying to get him out, but if it got to a clutch situation, I wouldn't let him do it.
And that clutch situation could actually be right now here in the top of the 1st inning with the game just underway. The 1-2 grounded foul. Yankees baseball is presented in high definition where available. It's brought to you by Sony Bravia.
I should mention all the pitchers that Ron Guidry mentioned. He mentioned Jack Morris. He mentioned Mike Flanagan. And those type of pitchers back in the 70s and the 80s were the top matchups for Guidry in those days. And those are the guys that he knew he was going to have to pitch a good game against.
The 1-2. Grounded softly toward first, but it'll kick foul.
When you're running down the first base line, when you hit a ball like that as a left-hand hitter, you are hoping that it goes foul.
Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. The 1-2. Talked to Tino Martinez today about facing Halladay as a left-handed batter, and he said, what I did with Halladay, he said, and I had some level of success against him, he says, I took away half of the plate. He said, I would give him the pitch on the inside part because I couldn't hit the cutter. He said, so I would take anything on the outside and try to drive it to left. He said, then if it's 2 strikes, then all bets are off. You have to protect everything. He said, but early in the count, I would never swing at anything inside. The 1-2. There was that backdoor pitch that Tino was talking about, just missed.
And you saw Benji Molina hold the ball for a long time for Alfonso Marquez. Didn't get the call. He's just trying. You can see that it does break around the plate. And Giambi has one thing going for him in this at-bat. He's a hitter that the umpires know has a good eye. And so he can get away with taking some close ones.
2-2. Inside 3-2.
And just knowing Alfonso Marquez, who's the home plate umpire, you have to put it on the plate. That ball, as you saw in the replay, was a curveball, that backdoor, but he's not an umpire that's going to ring guys. It's got to be on the plate.
See the rest of the umpiring crew. Larry Young's at first, Tom Hallion at second, and Mike Everett is at third. So the count is worked full. Runner at second base, still 1 out. And the 3-2. He struck him out. Pulled the string. Giambi down on strikes, 2 away. Big strikeout for Halladay.
There's a pitch sequence that you see. Tried to get ahead with a fastball. He did away, and then what they were talking about with Tino, cutters in, a big slow curveball. You're going to see a lot of this tonight. He throws hard cutters in on the lefties. That was a little split that probably was the only pitch that Giambi had a shot at. Backdoor curveball just missed. There's a cutter running in, and then a curveball down. You don't normally see Giambi wave at balls, but that's a tough pitch to lay off, especially 3-2.
So here's Alex Rodriguez.
You know, another thing as a hitter, as A-Rod steps in here with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position, you always felt when you went against the top pitchers, you were going to have a tough night just getting a hit. You hoped if you got one, you could get it at the right time. And this would be the right time with a runner in scoring position.
The 0-1. Inside 1-1.
See, Halladay, as we were talking here, this run could be the difference in the game, having A-Rod behind Giambi, who has struggled this season off and on, and certainly against a tough pitcher in Halladay. That a 3-2 curveball is something that most guys don't throw early in the game.
Yeah, but from my standpoint, if I was up there with a base open, that means any pitch is available to be thrown. You can't just lock in on a fastball. You know, if he walked him, he's got A-Rod coming up, and A-Rod's hitting to 14 double plays this year. And Halladay is a good, hard-sinking fastball type pitcher. He can get ground balls.
9 for 35 lifetime against the Jays right-hander. High fly ball, shallow center. Backing up is Hill, coming in as Wells. Hill makes the call and the catch for the final out of the inning. So Johnny Damon's leadoff single and the sac bunt wasted. No runs a hit and 1 man left. Yankees nothing. Blue Jays coming about against Mussina. Mike Mussina warming up for his half of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays starting lineup presented by Rico. And this is what Mussina is going to face. Reed Johnson red hot in right field. Frank Catalanato in left field will bat second. He owns Mike Mussina. Then you've got Vernon Wells in center. Middle of the order, Troy Gloss, Lyle Overbay, and Benji Molina. Bottom third, Greg Zahn, the DH, Aaron Hill, the second baseman, and John McDonald is the shortstop batting ninth.
Yeah, good numbers for the Moose as well, and this will be his 21st start of the year. Look at that record, 11-3. Could this be the year he wins 20? The rest of the numbers are very good as well. 112 hits and 128 in the third innings. 24 walks, 113 strikeouts. Let's take a look at the Land Rover pitcher scouting report. Blue Jays and Twins. Those are the two teams that Mike Mussina has beaten at least 20 times in his career. He's beaten the Blue Jays twice this year. He's now 20-11. His last loss was also over a month ago. That was June 15th to Cleveland, and left-handed batters are hitting just .204 against it.
Here's Reed Johnson to lead off. Pitch is high. Reed Johnson has been on fire, an 8-game hitting streak. He's hit safely in 48 of his last 50 games. He has a .445 on-base percentage, and he's hitting .360 overall. They've been waiting a while for Reed Johnson. Looks like he's finally arrived. The 1-0.
And the only reason he's playing every day now is because Alex Rios is out with a staph infection. And I saw Rios on the field prior to the game today, and he's lost a lot of weight. He'd been in the hospital for at least 10 days, and with a staph infection, it looks like it's taken a toll on him, and it's going to take a while before Alex Rios is ready to play. And he was having an all-star year.
Now one's driven to right field. Bernie Williams there. One away. Let's take a look at the Yankee defense behind Mussina. You already saw that Bernie Williams is in right. You've got Johnny Damon in center and Melky Cabrera over in left. Let's go the other way in the infield. Third to first. A-Rod, Jeter, Cairo, and Phillips. Posada behind the plate. And then Mussina, who's got 9 double play ground outs in his last 9 starts, is on the mound. Here's Frank Catalanato. Having another good season. He can hit. And he is from Smithtown, Long Island. So whenever the Yankees play the Blue Jays, we have a big Smithtown, Long Island audience.
You're saying all his relatives and friends tune in?
All the time. High fly ball, left center. Cabrera and Damon. Damon with the call and Damon with the catch.
Well, I know there's one Yankee fan out in Smithtown who's watching tonight. He's a big Yankee fan. He knows Frank Catalanato. It's Bill Ferraro. He really enjoys his Yankees. So he's from what did you say, Smithtown?
Smithtown.
Actually, it's Smithtown.
Smithtown.
Yeah. So he must be kind of torn between rooting for Frank and rooting for his Yanks. You know what I mean?
Probably roots for the Yankees and
hopes Frank does.
Hopes Frank goes 4 for 4. Here's Vernon Wells. Vernon leads the American League with 50 extra base hits. He has a 6-game hitting streak working, during which time he's 8 for 25. And we all know he's an outstanding defender in center field. 2 Gold Gloves and a breaking ball for a strike. And with Torrey Hunter out in Minnesota, stress fracture in his foot, Vernon Wells is probably clearly the best center fielder in the American League.
Made a big throw in the All-Star game. Threw out Alfonso Soriano at home plate. One thing you'll notice about Vernon Wells, he has a short, quick, compact swing. He's got a 6-game hitting streak working. He's tied for 7th in the American League with 73 runs batted in. He should get some MVP votes no matter what the Blue Jays do this year.
Rip foul.
Whoa!
And a diving play by the ball boy.
Oh my goodness!
That's going to get him on SportsCenter.
I'll tell you what. That might be the best play we see all night.
He's trying not to smile.
You know what? I saw the Blue Jays GM J.P. Ricciardi before the game. Yeah, he might be running down and signing his kid to a contract.
So he is the Toronto version of Skippy.
Skippy, I was thinking the same thing. Frank Cashman just traded Skippy.
There's J.P. Ricciardi.
Wow, what a play. And he gave up the body, didn't he?
All the great ones do.
Yeah.
The 0-2. Check swing. Did he go? No, said Larry Young at first.
Well, that was close. I mean, no argument from the Yankees, but Al, you would want this call, wouldn't you?
Oh, I want everything. The stuff I threw up there.
I mean, a chance to get Vernon Wells out on a half swing.
And the 1-2. Grounded to third. Nice play by A-Rod. Gets to his feet, uses the artificial turf, not in time. Tried to skip it over Andy Phillips on the artificial turf, and they just missed well, so an infield single.
First of all, A-Rod playing back very far. You can see him almost in short left field because of Vernon Wells' power, but then comes up. I don't know if he had a good grip on the ball, but it was accurate, and you can see his reaction to Vernon Wells picking up a 2-out infield single. First of all, he saves a double.
Here's Troy Gloss on the American League All-Star team this year. And the breaking ball is a strike.
Gloss just back into the lineup tonight. He'd missed several games with knee problems. Going back to the recent series with the Seattle here, sat out the whole Texas series, and now back in the lineup with the Yankees coming to town.
The 0-1.
You know, we've all been aware of A-Rod's problems fielding at third base lately. You know, he had that 3-error game. Sometimes when you make a great play, it can turn your game around in the field. And you know, he came very close to making a great play and getting the Yankees out of the inning. And it's just like hitting. Sometimes you can get a big hit, and that just turns you around for a while.
Umpire just stepped out and pointed to Lyle Overbay behind the plate, who's on deck right now. And it seemed as if Overbay was too far behind the plate. Pitchers don't like that, and the umpire moved him back.
Yeah, they track the ball. It's almost like they're directly behind the home plate. He was standing about here. I know Matt Williams used to do it. As a matter of fact, Derek Jeter at Yankee Stadium, he'd get way behind, and they could just see better flight of the ball. It's an advantage at some point.
Foul behind the plate, and it becomes very dangerous as well. I don't remember the name of the player, but in a college game a couple of years ago, a kid was standing what the pitcher thought was too close behind the plate.
Yes.
And launched the ball and hit him in the face and ruined the kid's career.
He did it on purpose.
Right,
though,
he did it on purpose.
And I'm not, you know, back in the day, you know, if you're doing warm-ups, if you're back behind it, there are pitchers who would throw one over your head and hit the screen just to let you know, get back where you belong.
Is there such an advantage, Al, you think, to standing
I think so. If we could see that shot again, if you get a guy, even though he's probably 25 feet behind home plate, yes, you could see the flight, you could track it, you could time it. If he was standing in over here, much easier to get a better look at the ball, especially breaking balls coming out of the hand.
Count 3-2. And he can't get that same look from Overmore?
No, because you're looking from the side as opposed to directly behind home plate.
The closer you can get, the better off you are as a hitter.
Pick-up release point. That's why generally early in the game you'll see guys with good stuff and good pitchers, they get through the lineup, you know, one time over, maybe two, because guys are finding release points.
Runner goes, foul back.
Pitch sequences. You know, if you look at this inning, Vernon Wells, he goes fastball to Johnson, all fastballs Catalanano, and then Vernon Wells, he's the biggest first ball fastball hitter on this team, 36% of the time. That matters because the first pitch was a slow curveball. If you saw Moose throw the curveball, Glaus is the opposite. You know, he'll wait you out and look for something soft out over.
3-2. Cannot hold up on the breaking ball, and he waves through weakly for the final out of the first inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, and one man left. And some great defense in this inning as well. Unfortunately, none of it in the box score, but it is on the replay. A great play by the ball boy down the line. We go to the second. No score. Hey, let's take a look at the J&R Music and Computer World upcoming schedule. 3 more games against the Jays tomorrow. It's on My 9 at 7. Yes is back on Saturday with a 4 o'clock start. And on Sunday, the batting practice show starts at noon. Pregame at 12:30. First pitch at 1:05. Yankees against the Jays. Jorge Posada leads off against Roy Halladay. And there's a strike as the second inning is underway. Posada did not play in yesterday's game because Tuesday night, he got hit with a foul tip on his bare hand and kind of puffy. It's still puffy, but he told our Kim Jones that it's playable. So he's in the lineup. This is how he got hurt on Tuesday on a foul tip. Ooh. Now, he had to stay in the game there because he had pinch hit earlier for Kelly Stinnett, and there was no other catcher. And no one came out to look at him because they didn't want to hear he couldn't play. The 0-2 inside.
Is there an emergency catcher on the Yankees?
I would have to say it would be Andy Phillips. I'm sure Miguel Cairo could do it as well. I'm assuming that Jeter and A-Rod wouldn't go behind the plate.
I'm assuming that Joe Torre wouldn't ask him. Here's A-Rod, just 2 hits away from 2,000 for his career.
The 1-2. Outside, 2-2. Roy Halladay is one of those pitchers that came up, had success, then ran into a lot of problems, and then suffered the ignominious fate of being sent all the way down to A-ball, and they recreated Roy Halladay, and it actually worked. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, one away.
And the person responsible for that is Mel Queen, who was a former Blue Jays pitching coach. You can see another off-speed breaking ball. It's going to get Posada out in front. And like I said, he has all the weapons. You see how he turns his body too? That creates deception. He hides the ball.
Can you imagine, Al, if you had some success, because Roy Halladay almost pitched a no-hitter. If you had some success and all of a sudden they said, hey, we want to rework everything and reinvent you. Sliced inside third and down the left field line. Bernie Williams rounds first. He's going to go for second, and Catalanato will flip the ball in toward third. One-out double for Bernie Williams.
Yeah, Bernie's one of the hitters that's had success against Halladay. He was 348 coming into tonight against Halladay, but over his last 8. Now he picks on a pitch up and out over the plate. You can see that pitch was up, and Bernie just say, I'll go the other way with this one. Slashes it down the third base line for a 2-base hit. And Bernie coming up on a milestone. He needs one more double to tie Don Mattingly on the all-time Yankee list. Just one more.
Ripped sharply to third. Nice play by Gloss. Taking a base hit and maybe an RBI away from Andy Phillips. A little bit of the Olay move, but it's stuck in the glove.
Well, they're jumping on first pitch heaters, which is not a bad idea against Halladay. When he's on, you can see a lot of the breaking balls. That ball was smoked by Andy Phillips. In Halladay's last start, the Mariners eventually started doing just that, what Bernie did and their Andy Phillips, to not get deep in the count with a guy like Roy Halladay, who can throw an assortment of sliders and curves and changing speeds an awful lot. Very difficult to time.
Melky Cabrera chops one toward third. Barehanded by Gloss. Off balance throw gets him. 2 nice plays by Troy Gloss to end the inning, and Strand Williams after the double. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the second inning at Rogers Center. There's no score. Yankees and the Jays. Let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Online DSL, now at a great low price. Jared Wright, who's been pitching well for the Yankees against A.J. Burnett. He's been injured for most of the year, pitched well his last time out. And the coverage will begin right at game time, 7 o'clock on My 9, so be sure to tune in. Here's Lyle Overbay against Mike Mussina. And there's a strike. Yankees and the Blue Jays are going to play a large role in each other's season because they've only played 5 of the 18 times that they'll meet. So 13 games remain between these two teams. The Yankees are 3-2 over the first 5. Last year, the Yankees did very well against the Blue Jays, and that helped them win the American League East. The Yankees were 12-6 against Toronto.
Joe Torre and the Yankees have done well against the Eastern Division thus far this year, 18-11 against division foes.
Tonight's closed captioning is presented by Toyota. The Blue Jays 24-17 against the American League East. They're 13-8 at home against Eastern Division foes, 11-9 on the road. Last year, they had some trouble against the East. They were 38-36.
But one thing the Blue Jays have been able to do the last couple of years, and that is beat the Boston Red Sox. They're very tough against Boston. And they are 7-4 against Boston this year.
And the 1-2 outside. One thing the Blue Jays are doing very well this year is hitting. .292 batting average. That's the best in Major League Baseball. 957 hits, also #1. Most total bases, highest slugging percentage. Little humpback line drive on a couple of hops to Jeter on the charge, and he gets Overbay for the first out.
Another reason why the Blue Jays are such a good hitting team, they don't strike out very much. They have struck out the least amount of times in the American League.
Here's what I was talking about. They're second in home runs. They're third in on-base percentage. .282 average with runners in scoring position is good for fifth, and they've scored 502 runs, also good for fifth. In fact, they've had the highest batting average in the American League for 80 days. So they have been consistent with their offense, but still the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing so well in front of them, they're really not making a move on the top. They're 6 behind the Red Sox and 4 behind the Yankees. Red Sox already won today. They beat Texas in a makeup game 6-4 at Fenway Park. The Rangers had just finished taking 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays here in Toronto, and they did something that really is unheard of. The game against the Red Sox today was a makeup game, and what the Rangers decided to do was stay here in Toronto overnight and take an 8 a.m. flight to Boston to play a day game. Hit sharply to third. Nice play by Alex Rodriguez. 2 away. And the reason Buck Showalter did that, didn't want his team to pack and unpack and then pack again, because they're only in Boston for 1 game. Although I know Major League Baseball frowns upon traveling the day of the game in case there's any delays.
What was the final score of that game?
6-4.
6-4? Well, they put a representative game on the Red Sox.
Here's Greg Zahn. Pitches low. When Lyle Overbay was up, he hit a foul ball into the stands, and you'll see a lot of the players keep looking in because the ball seemed like it hit a fan. So some concern on some of the players' faces as they continue to peer in. Count 2-0.
And Greg Zahn's a backup catcher, but tonight he draws the role of the designated hitter, and he's had a pretty good season as well. He's one of those Blue Jays hitting .300. Doesn't get as much playing time as he got last year with the signing of Benji Molina, but he's made the most of his opportunities. When you're a .300 hitter, you're a .300 hitter.
It's a little respect right there. Mussina showing Zahn a 2-0 changeup. I played with Greg with the Florida Marlins, and he has been a notorious fastball hitter, and pretty much in his career that's all he was able to hit. But he's showing a lot more patience. He goes deep in the count. He'll walk, take pitches like that are borderline. He's really matured as he's gotten into his later years.
You see Moose shake his head there. He thought he had a strike. Good hard 2-seam fastball sinking down in the zone, trying to get the ground ball.
And the 3-1. And it goes full at 3-2.
He came right back with the same pitch. When you've beaten a team 20 times, they know who you are. So Mussina 20-11 in his career. And you can see the two-seamer, the ball moving away from Zahn, and he fouled it off. He's already beaten the Blue Jays twice this year, once here in Toronto, April 19th, and on April 30th, he beat him at Yankee Stadium.
3-2. Struck him out. Got him with a breaking ball diving down and in. So Mussina retires the Jays in order 1-2-3 here in the second. Why don't we take this pitcher's duel to the third inning? Of course, there's no score. Samsung's Four Seasons of Hope and Joe Torre have teamed up to make a difference in the community. For every Yankees home run hit at home this year, Samsung will donate $1,000 to Joe Torre's Safe at Home Foundation to help end the cycle of domestic violence. You can join the team and support Samsung's Home Run for Kids by visiting fourseasonsofhope.com or joetorre.org, because a little hope can make a big difference. And Miguel Cairo grounds a single through the left side for a base hit as we begin the third.
Going after the first pitch again. Last three batters did the very same thing. Best swings right there. You see that ball down in the zone for Cairo. Hit it hard through the hole.
I just dropped the head of the bat onto the ball and right by John McDonald.
Coors Light scoreboard, there's no score here in the third. 0-3-0 for the Yanks, 0-1-0 for the Jays. Roy Halladay, runner goes, throw to second is not in time, so the Yankees run on Molina. And Cairo steals second base.
You know, I know Benji Molina's won a Gold Glove in the past, but his throwing has not been as good the last few years. In fact, he's only thrown out 18% this year. And decent pitch to throw on. You can see the throw sails to the right field side of second base. Cairo. And he can do all the little things. Feels his position. That's 10 steals in 11 attempts. 10 out of 11.
That 18% you mentioned, Benji Molina was much better than that with Anaheim.
He was up around 45, maybe 50.
Hit sharply inside first and down the right field line. That will score Cairo. Moving to second is Damon. The throw is not in time. It's an RBI double for Johnny Damon, and the Yankees lead 1-0.
Damon comes out smoking. He's 2 for 2. This is his second hit of the ball game and his 23rd double of the year. And as Al's pointing out, it's a fastball that's elevated. And Johnny Damon's looking to pull the ball anyway. And he gets a pitch he can handle. He runs it by Overbay down the first base line. And there's an old adage in baseball. They say in the dugouts, when the leadoff guy gets to second, trade places with him. And that's exactly what Johnny Damon does. He beats the strong throw of Reed Johnson in with a two-base hit, and he trades places with Miguel Cairo.
23rd double of the year for Damon.
That leads the Yankees.
Pitch to Derek Jeter is low 1-0. That ends a streak of 17 1/3 scoreless innings that Roy Halladay had against the Yankees. That's almost 2 shutouts. 2 outs away from 2 shutouts. Grounded to short. Jeter does not get the runner over. 1 away.
Yeah, what was interesting there is Jeter, his first time up, sacrificed right away. And this time up, he decides to swing away. And, you know, if he had bunted this time, he might have gotten Damon over to third with 1 out. Instead, Halladay threw him a nice pitch to get him out in front, and he pulls the ball. He's not looking to pull it, but that's the only place he could hit it.
Here's Jason Giambi, struck out in the first inning, 1 for his last 12, 4 for his last 21.
Those pitchers are tricky, aren't they, Al? You just smile. You can say yeah.
Pitch is inside.
But as you were saying that's why Halladay is who he is. Looks like he's getting a little trouble. Of the last 5 batters, 6 pitches were seen, and every one of them except Cabrera hit the ball hard. He gets behind on Jeter with a first pitch fastball, and he comes back with a slow curveball. You know, normally somebody less experienced, certainly somebody not as good as Halladay, you know, he's going to try to get ahead, throw a strike, keep the ball down in the zone. Jeter was clearly looking for a fastball.
The 2-0. Breaking ball strike, doesn't give in on 2-0, does not throw the fastball.
And I say clearly, how do I know? Of course I don't know, but you know, in a 1-0 fastball count, and he kind of a get-me-over curveball for him to roll over on it. He was just fooled looking fastball.
Damon's at second.
You know, with Giambi at the plate, you have the usual setup. Jason didn't think that last pitch was a strike. Usual setup defensively as the Blue Jays have run 3 infielders to the right side of second base. And you can see Aaron Hill here, who is now the second baseman once again. You know, talking to Brian Butterfield, the Blue Jays third base and infield coach, he said that Aaron Hill has really improved his ability to play second base. And originally when he told him to move back, with a guy like Giambi at the plate, he was hesitant to move back into short right field. But he says now he takes his position right away. He doesn't have to remind him, get back there, get back there. You can still throw him out on a hard hit ball. The Blue Jays have had some issues with their middle infield this year, and they have made several changes during the course of the year that championship teams usually don't have to make.
And you try to find a spot for somebody who is your hottest hitter, certainly in the month of July. He's batting nearly 400, 397.
3-2. And right at Hill. Let's see if they double up Damon. They do. Where was Damon going? That was not good base running by the Yankee center fielder. He gets doubled up. 4-5 is the way you score that. Damon took off and the ball was right at Aaron Hill. It wasn't even a difficult play. But the Yankees get a run on 2 hits, and because of the double play, nobody left. It's the Yankees 1 and the Blue Jays nothing. A rare base running blunder for Johnny Damon that ended the 3rd inning.
Yeah, usually you're supposed to look and see where the infielders and outfielders are playing, and Johnny Damon should have known that Hill was back. There's John McDonald covering at second base, and when you score 100+ runs every year for, what is it, 8 years in a row, you're a very good base runner. That's a rare mistake for Johnny Damon.
And that has scored 4-6 because it was a shortstop that backpedaled and took the throw, not glossed the third baseman. So we move to the bottom of the 3rd, and Aaron Hill takes a strike. Hill has a 9-game hitting streak. You see the Coors Light scoreboard now has some company. 1-0 is the Yankees lead. And on June, or should I say May 17th, Aaron Hill was hitting 197. Now he comes into this game hitting 303.
Very short, compact swing, much in the same way that Vernon Wells swings the bat. I was talking about the Blue Jays middle infield. At the beginning of the year, Aaron Hill was the second baseman and Russ Adams was the shortstop. Well, Russ Adams was having all kinds of problems, throwing issues. Russ Adams was eventually sent down to, there's Russ, he was sent down to AAA to play second base. And they moved Aaron Hill to short. Aaron Hill's called out on strikes. And the Blue Jays even signed Edgardo Alfonso to play second. Well, that didn't work out. They bring Russ Adams back to play second base. He can't master the double play, so Russ Adams is on the bench now. Aaron Hill has moved back to second, and John McDonald is supposed to play shortstop for the rest of the year. Stay tuned.
Write that down for us, will you?
And here is the aforementioned John McDonald. And you guys mentioned this earlier. You never see that kind of upheaval or unrest on a pennant-winning team unless there's an injury. Those were not injury-related moves. They were just ineptitude moves. And then you just never see that. And it almost shows some indecision on the part of the organization. Is Hill the second baseman? Is he the shortstop? What do you think of Russ Adams? I mean, you can't keep flip-flopping people because it shows that, gee, we don't know exactly where these guys slot.
Well, one of the things is both of them were back-to-back #1 draft picks, and it looks very good on your resume when you have #1 draft picks playing every day in the major leagues, even though they didn't spend much time in the minors. Well, eventually it took them long enough to see that Russ Adams was having throwing issues, and they were not going to win any championships, at least not this year, with him playing shortstop.
And John McDonald singles the center field. That breaks an 0 for 15 slide for McDonald.
Yeah, McDonald's not known for his bat, but he has a solid glove.
Well, probably the least guy that he thinks that's going to hit a ball like that, certainly early in the game. Nothing against McDonald, but he's batting 220. It's a 1-1 fastball down the middle. Sometimes as a pitcher, you give less respect to the lesser-named guy, or certainly a guy batting ninth who is batting 220.
Yeah, but he's got a bat in his hand. That's the thing.
I agree, and I'm not saying anything disrespectful, but when you go through a scouting report and you go through the hitters, you certainly stop at the 3, 4, 5 and talk about them much longer than you do number 9.
There's Reed Johnson. There's a strike. Well, the Blue Jays knew that they were going to make some decisions during the offseason when they trade Orlando Hudson. Orlando Hudson's one of the best second basemen in the game. He's a Gold Glove winner. But they decided they were going to move him and create space for their 2 number 1s, and they've just been unable to fill the slot because neither of those 2 is even close to Orlando Hudson at this point.
Yeah, but they did get Troy Glaus in that deal. A number 4 hitter with some pop,
who's turned out to be an all-star. It was a calculated gamble, and it was a risk. A risk was involved.
Now, Blue Jays steal not many more bases than they used to. They didn't steal very often. They're about the middle of the pack in the league in steals. And McDonald has stolen 6 out of 7, so he's a candidate to go. A couple of years ago, you almost never saw the Blue Jays attempt to steal a base. They still don't bunt very often.
That could be 2. There's 1. And there's 2. A 6-4-3 double play. McDonald goes in hard on Cairo, but Cairo got off a true throw toward first. So the inning ends on the 6-4-3 double play. Cairo hangs in there nicely and then takes his medicine. And Johnson's out with the double play. We go to the 4th. Well, we go to the 4th inning. Yankees holding a 1-0 lead. It'll be A-Rod, Posada, and Williams against Halladay. Pitches inside 1-0. 1-4-0 Yanks, 0-2-0 for the Jays. Ripped down the left field line. It's a base hit for Alex Rodriguez. It goes into the corner and up against the wall, and A-Rod will get himself a leadoff double. Top of the 4th inning means it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Let's take a look.
Aflac.
Roy Halladay recorded his 50th career win against the Yankees. That was on July 12th of 2003, and we'd like to know who was the losing pitcher. Halladay lifetime is 91-45, but his 50th win, July 12th against the Yankees of 2003. Here's Posada with a runner on second. Pitch is inside.
When you're facing a pitcher like Halladay, you have to take advantage of all your opportunities. And here's another one for the Yankees. They have a leadoff runner at second. And the least that Posada has to do is try and get A-Rod to third with 1 out.
5 times in this game, the Yankees have had a runner at second base. And that one's going to get in. That's a base hit by Posada. Vernon Wells will field. Alex Rodriguez is going to hold up at third. Did not read that off the bat. Held up to see if it would drop in, and did not want to risk getting thrown out at home plate by Wells with nobody out.
And to Wells' credit, he saw that A-Rod got a slow jump from second, thinking that he might be able to either catch it. So he throws home. You know, usually most center fielders who are not watching on that play just throw the ball to second, and the runner might be able to score anyway. You can see A-Rod thinking it might be caught. He holds up, and Larry Boa holds him up like he should with nobody out. Just stay right here. We're not going to take any chances. Posada's thinking, man, should I have another RBI?
That would have been his 48th. A-Rod with that double, incidentally. 1 hit away from 2,000 in his career.
You know, meanwhile, we're talking to the Blue Jay outfielders. You got Vernon Wells in center and Reed Johnson in right, 2 of the best throwing arms in the league. But there's a slight difference between the 2. Reed Johnson really charges the ball hard and gets rid of it quickly. Vernon Wells is one of these challenging type outfielders. He knows he has a strong arm, and he might lay back and let you go and then throw you out. While Reed Johnson will actually make third base coaches hold the runner because he charges the ball so hard.
Chop towards second. A-Rod's going to score. They get one out at second. That's all they'll get. So Bernie picks up an RBI on the 4-6 force. Yankees lead 2-0.
I was talking to Boa before the game about that, and he said that both of them have strong arms, but they go about throwing out their runners a little bit differently.
I think you got to include Vladimir Guerrero somewhere in there.
Yeah, he's not here tonight, though. But I don't mean to leave out Frank Calanata, but he doesn't have as strong an arm as the other two. Yeah, Vlad Guerrero, he's a challenging type outfielder. He'll get the ball, make you run, and then throw you out.
Here's Andy Phillips. Robbed of a base hit. Nice play by Gloss. That was in the second. This one could be two. There's one, and there's two. A 6-4-3 double play. But the Yankees score another run on 2 hits, and nobody left. We go to the bottom of the fourth. It's 2-0 Yanks. Frank Catalanato leads off, and since he's from Smithtown, Long Island, we said this would be a good guy to do the hitter scouting report presented by Bacardi on.
Yeah, and Frank Catalanato, how about this? Only 7% of the swings he takes are actual swings and misses. He fouls pitches off 93% of the time. He puts wood on the ball. This year he's 5 for 7 with the bases loaded. It's one of the best in the league. Only Frank Thomas is better. And recently here, the Blue Jays had a promotion. It was Dog Day. Fans were invited to bring their dogs to the ball game. It was the cat who had the game-winning hit.
And he takes a strike. You really worked hard on
No,
that.
he did. He had a hit in the 11th inning to win the game. So for all you cat lovers out there, although I haven't seen a major league team actually have cat day at the stadium.
Cap day, yes,
Yeah,
not cat. Pitch is low, and the count 1-1. Two 2-0 Yankees lead. First game of a 4-game set. Odd swing, tied him up.
You see, but it wasn't a swing and a miss because he made contact. That's why the Blue Jays, if they're going to hit and run with a batter at the plate, it's usually Catalanato, because he's going to make some contact and, protect the runner who's ahead of him. That's Reed Johnson, and Reed Johnson's had such a good on-base percentage this year that Blue Jays have been able to hit and run a lot out of the number 2 slot.
The 1-2. Popped up, second base, Cairo. 1 down. Let's take a look at the answer to the Aflac trivia question. Roy Halladay recorded his 50th career win against the Yankees on July 12, 2003. And who was the losing pitcher in that game for the Yankees? Mike Mussina. See how we tie it all together? So seamless. Here's Vernon Wells. Blue Jay organization a little bit nervous. Vernon Wells has a year left on his contract, and you see the head-to-head in the 3 career games between Mussina and Halladay. Mussina leading that 2-1. Vernon Wells has a year left on his contract following this one, and the general feeling is that he wants to play for the Texas Rangers. He's from Arlington, Texas. Chopper to second. Cairo's there. 2 away, and that's got to scare the Blue Jays because he's so valuable to this franchise. He's one of the people that they really market, a 2-time Gold Glove winner, a good citizen on and off the field, and if they have to trade him, that would be tough.
Yeah, former number 1 draft pick, too. The problem for him, though, is that the Rangers now have a pretty good center fielder of their own. I mean, an all-star and Gary Matthews Jr., who certainly doesn't have the track record that Vernon Wells has, but Vernon Wells is, if he goes to Texas, he's going to be a lot more expensive than Gary Matthews Jr.
But at least it gives the Rangers a starting point to trade to the Blue Jays, a center fielder for a center fielder. That have to include something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
And a strike to Gloss. And the one thing that really worries the Blue Jays, reportedly, Vernon Wells' wife wants him to play in Arlington. And usually you play where your wife wants you to play. One less headache.
Oh, Mikey.
I mean, one less headache in your life. That's all I mean.
Yeah. You can tell the unmarried guy up here.
You know, life is full of compromises.
49 pitches for Mussina, 34 strikes.
If you know what I mean, right, Al?
Honey, do this, honey, do that.
Well, they're just compromises, that's all. You want to play golf? You help out with certain things.
You want to play baseball? It's got to be in Arlington, Texas. And the 1-2. Swung on a miss. Mussina looks good. 1-2-3 inning for Mike Mussina. Retires the Blue Jays in order. We'll go to the 5th inning here at Rogers Center in Toronto. It's the Yankees 2 and the Blue Jays nothing.
Hi everyone, Bob Lorenz in our studios with this Nissan update. You know by now the Red Sox played the Rangers earlier today in a makeup game at Fenway. Bottom of the 6th, score tied at 4, but Mark Loretta unties it with a base hit that scores Alex Gonzalez. They went on to win 6-4. Curt Schilling won his 12th, and that moved the Red Sox 2 up on the Yankees, 6 games on the Blue Jays. Michael?
Thank you, Bob. And here in Rogers Center, the Yankees trying to keep pace with the Red Sox. Top of the 5th inning, and it is 2-0 Yanks. Well, you know, Leiter, you see Schilling's winning 12 games. I think you're actually, when the Chevy scoreboard shows the score, you're younger than Schilling. What's going on?
What does that mean?
Well, why are you broadcasting? He's winning 12 games.
Because I ended up stinking. Wanted to get out before it's too late. Some people thought it was too late as it was.
Schilling's having a very good year for the Red Sox.
It's in better condition this year.
And last year it was hard for him to be in condition with that ankle injury.
Yeah, it was hard for him to work out over the winter and do all his aerobic exercise.
Red Sox also, after yesterday's game, they announced that they signed Josh Beckett to a 3-year contract extension for $30 million. So that'll take him through his first 2 years of free agency and the last year of arbitration. And when Schilling does retire, Josh Beckett's going to be the ace of that staff.
Well deserved. He's not only having a great year this year, he was a 2nd pick overall, 2000. But Josh Beckett wants to be great. And I know him fairly well, and I know that it was weighing on him. And for him to have this security, he's only going to get better.
And it's strange because another pitcher from that Marlins team, A.J. Burnett, signed here with the Blue Jays. And they gave him $55 million for 5 years, and he's won 1 game so far this year.
Well, I think that was a sign based on stuff. He's got tremendous stuff, and Brad Arnsberg, who's the Blue Jay pitching coach.
Slow chopper, third base side. Halladay. Not in time. Cabrera beat it up.
Well, there's a difference of batting left-handed as a switch hitter as opposed to batting right-handed, because that extra step was awfully important right here. You can see Melky was across the bag as Overbay came up with the ball. No argument. Tony Pena applauding the hustle of Melky Cabrera, and John Gibbons out there arguing with first base umpire Larry Young over the call. John Gibbons, I mean, it's been heated here the last particularly last day or so with the Shea Hillenbrand situation. Hillenbrand supposedly wrote something on the bulletin board in the clubhouse, the blackboard in the clubhouse, that this ship is sinking. John Gibbons came into the clubhouse, demanded to know who did it. Oh, that's close.
I think he's right. He might have been out.
And Hillenbrand owned up to it, and John Gibbons went off on Hillenbrand, and Hillenbrand was gone. We get another look right here. Where's Melky's? It looked like he was safe in that picture. That particular shot we had looked like he was safe. So John Gibbons has had his say, and he had his say with Shea Hillenbrand too. He let him have it.
Boy, if you listen to Kim Jones' report on the pregame show, she hit it right on the nose. It is like a soap opera. I mean, you can't believe that something like this is going on in a big league clubhouse, and it's not as if they're getting rid of a marginal player.
300.
Shea Hillenbrand is a good hitter, and he destroys the Yankees. So you designate him for assignment when the Yankees are coming in for a 4-game set. It doesn't seem like a good baseball decision. Cairo squares the bunt.
I think this goes back a ways because Hillenbrand hasn't been happy because his playing time in the field has been down. He feels he's a fielder. And when the Blue Jays traded for Troy Glaus, that took away a place for him to play at third base or first base with Overbay coming over from Milwaukee. And there was a recent series that they played interleague in Colorado, and Hillenbrand didn't play any one of the 3 games. And after that, he demanded in John Gibbons' office to know what his playing time was going to be. And I think just he's been like getting under the skin of John Gibbons for a period of time, going all the way back to spring training.
You know what, though? You lasted with him for 3 months. You keep him around for the Yankees. In 2002, he hit .377 against the Yankees when he was with the Red Sox. Last year, he hit .347 against them. Swing and a miss. Runner goes. Go to second. No one was covering. Melky Cabrera gets up, and he will go to third. No one covered. Molina threw to an empty bag. McDonald and Hill looked at each other, and neither knew who was going to cover.
Yeah, they just cost their catcher an error. Who's there? If it's McDonald, he's late because Molina had to hit a moving target. Here's a throw again, sailing towards the right field side of second base. Melky gets up, heads for third.
It was not a great throw. It was tailing away, but still McDonald was late getting there. If he's at the bag, he makes that play. I don't know if you get the runner, but you make the play. So the infield now is in because of that throwing error. Runner at third, nobody out. And that's going to get in a run. And maybe a lot more. Vernon Wells back, still back. And he'll make the play on the warning track. Tagging and scoring is Cabrera. Miguel Cairo, who just gets it done over and over and over again, picks up a sac fly. Yankees lead 3-0.
Now, we talked about being matched up against good pitchers. Each run means an awful lot, and this run can be charged to the Blue Jays defensively. A miscue at second and a Gold Glove center fielder just made it look easy. Onto the warning track, makes the catch, gets the ball back in. The Yankees have another run.
Johnny Damon slaps one the other way. Catalanato gives it a run, gives it a look, and gives up.
Well, that run there is the very thing that from spring training on, with Larry Boa coming aboard, with Tony Pena, there's a lot of talk in spring about, doing the little things, sacrifice bunts. Here we saw a sac fly. Speed kills. You hear that on the bench. And, Cabrera beats out an infield single, a dribble off in front of the mound. He steals. He's being aggressive. The ball was thrown off center, so he advanced. But it was about the aggressive play and then a sac fly. To me, yes, there was a throwing error. Maybe McDonald was late. You want to keep Hill at right side because Cairo is a good ball to the right side of the field. He goes the other way. Those are the kind of runs that the Yankees need to do often, especially against great pitchers like Halladay.
Slap the other way. Catalanato's there, and they finally retire Damon 2 away.
I think it was pointed out that a lower percentage of Yankee runs this year have scored on the home runs, and that's something that Joe Torre and Brian Cashman, the Yankee GM, have tried to do. Give the Yankees other ways to score runs, because when you face the better pitchers in the playoffs, you're not going to hit home runs off these guys. They just don't give them up. You're going to have to play some more little ball. And, steal some bases, put some pressure on the defense. And that's exactly, and strike out less and make contact. And when you're facing somebody like Roy Halladay, who does not give up the long ball very often, this is the way you're going to have to try and beat him.
37% of the Yankee runs scored this year have come via the home run, and that's not a very high percentage. And for those that keep insisting and harping, gee, the Yankees have to create runs. The Yankees steal bases. They sacrifice a lot. They do create runs. And if you look at the bottom of the Yankee order in the last couple of months, they have to do that. Jeter is gunned out for the final out of the 5th inning. For the Yankees, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left. At the end of 4 1/2, we're halfway through. It's 3-0 Yanks.